Today we continue our 8-week series on the opioid epidemic, and this morning we are joined by Tennessee Attorney General Herbert Slatery. And good morning. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah, so we wanted to know, what your office is doing right now to help with this opioid epidemic here in our state.
Well, we're doing three things primarily. We're involved with, and have been involved in, a multi-state investigation of 5 or 6 manufacturers and 3 distributors. We've been involved in that for about 3 years, and we are one of the leading states. There's probably about 45 states involved. And then we have 2 lawsuits that we filed. We filed against Purdue Pharma, and we've also filed a lawsuit against Endo Pharmaceuticals. And those are the two major areas. And then there's an area that we're really not a party to the litigation, but there's a multi-district litigation involving about 2,500 political subdivision counties, cities, that's in Cleveland, Ohio. So we're doing those are the big areas. We've got about, honestly, about 8 lawyers working full time on it.
Yeah, and why is it so important to heavily focus on big pharma? I know that that's something that you guys are doing. Why is that a focus for you?
Well, big pharma was the starting point, and primarily Purdue Pharma. They're the ones that started the marketing framework that led to the doctor visits, the promotion of the products, and for us, many of the deceptions were involved in that, claiming that there was these are cures for long-term chronic disease and pain, and they really aren't cures. And the CDC came out, I think, a few years ago in 2016 and said there was really no scientific evidence supporting the fact that opioids are an answer to long-term chronic care. Now they are helpful, but they're also very addictive, and we think that's part of the deception, and know that's part of the deception that they made.
Yeah, and Purdue Pharma just announced bankruptcy. It's facing thousands of lawsuits. I know you just touched upon that, but what is your response to that? I know that on your website that you did say that this bankruptcy means Purdue will no longer exist. Can you kind of explain that for people who are just hearing this?
Well, we think Purdue, that's where they belong, and the bankruptcy means they're going to go out of business. There's a framework of a settlement, but we've still got a long way to go yet on the settlement. They and the Sacklers, the family that controls Purdue, will go out of the opioid business both nationally and internationally if that plan goes through. It's a way to handle, bankruptcy is a way to handle a number of claims and get releases and hopefully get money to the citizens that have been affected by this.
Yeah, and do you support a possible settlement with Purdue, and how could this affect Tennesseans, and potentially when?
That's a really good question. We did, along with 20 other states and territories, support the framework of the resolution, and basically for a couple of reasons. It gets them out of the business, which we want them out of the business because they started all of this. But there is also something different here than in many legal claims. Tennessee has about 3 to 4 people who die a day from opioid overdoses. And so there's some urgency here that's not in a lot of other legal situations. And so we want to get the money to the people who are in need of it as quickly as possible. Now, we want to get as much money as we can, but this framework gives us the ability to get some of those resolutions and rehab and treatment and those drug courts, things that really work quickly so that we can solve some of this problem. We've got to solve the problem. There's some real urgency to it.
Urgency, but not a specific, timeline as to when maybe Tennesseans can see this.
I wish I could say there is a timeline, but I think it'll be a little more quickly under this scenario than it would be if we just took all the lawsuits to their natural ending point and get judgments, and you execute on judgments. That takes a long time.
And how do you think, this can impact Tennesseans right here?
Well, Tennessee is, especially East Tennessee, is almost like ground zero for the opioid epidemic in the South, and so we think there are a number of ways to treat it. We need more rehab facilities. I think there's some addiction educational programs. There are lots of things that the state is set up to provide, and that infrastructure is already there, but they lack the funding for these programs. If you're going to build a rehab facility, it costs money. So we're trying to get that money to meet those needs, like I said, as quickly as possible.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us here
thank you for inviting me.
answering our questions here. Thank you. All right.